Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. We begin with news coming out of the United States. Donald Trump's former attorney Michael Cohen has testified that the U.S. president was aware of Roger Stone's efforts to reach out to WikiLeaks before its release of damaging information about Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. That's according to a copy of his public testimony submitted to Congress Tuesday night. In a stunning 20-page statement, Cohen detailed a number of allegations against Trump, from making racist statements about African Americans to participating in an illegal hush money scheme.
I am ashamed of my weakness and my misplaced loyalty, of the things I did for Mr. Trump in an effort to protect and promote him. I am ashamed that I chose to take part in concealing Mr. Trump's illicit acts rather than listening to my own conscience. I am ashamed because I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
Meanwhile, House Oversight Committee Chair Elijah Cummings says further investigations will be carried out.
Mr. Cohen's testimony raises grave questions about the legality of President Donald Trump's conduct and the truthfulness of statements while he was president. We need to assess and investigate this new evidence as we uphold our constitutional oversight responsibilities. And we will continue after today to gather more documents and testimony in our search for the truth.
Scores of Petrojam employees attended yesterday's meeting with their trade unions to discuss the future of the state-run oil refinery. It was triggered by uncertainty over whether the entity will shut down or downsize its operations. It was revealed last week that a $34 million valuation of Petrojam is based on assumptions that the refinery would be closed by the end of the year and 70% of workers sent home. General Secretary of the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, John Levy, says the workers gave instructions to their unions.
And they have asked us to get an early meeting with the minister, which we have already written to the minister, and we are awaiting a response from her. And they want us to give them some assurance, which at this time we are a little bit challenged to give them any major assurance. What we sure though is that we will continue to advocate on their behalf, because they want to maintain their jobs and they want to continue to give service, and they want to protect the interests of Petrojam in the best way possible. So we have been mandated to get a meeting with the minister as early as possible, and we have already, as I indicated, written to the minister seeking audience with her. I understand that she was at the plant yesterday. She didn't give any commitments. She maybe was just on a preliminary introduction, so to speak, but we want to hear some hard, cold facts from the minister.
The Palmer's Cross Development Committee has begun talks with several stakeholders about the way forward for the Cross Primary and Junior High in Clarendon after another student was mowed down. At the center of discussions, an overhead bridge to help students cross the busy thoroughfare. We have details in this report.
11-year-old Eldrina Rowe mowed down at the intersection of Savannah Cross and the Bustamante Highway in Clarendon last Monday. And again, there are talks about making the area safer for students. The fatal crash happened near the entrance to the Cross Primary and Junior High School. President of the Palmer's Cross Community Development Committee, CDC, Romeo Mitchell, says the plan is to prevent a recurrence of Eldrina's story.
What we put on the table is that we want, for now, a warden and to cross the children in the mornings and in the evenings. And we're dealing at a specific time between 7 a.m. to about 9 a.m. We want signs to say slow down. We want these signs to be implemented in the radius of 100 feet and cut down the speed limit. We would like to see the police coming out to also to give support with the wardens.
Even though a request was made for wardens to assist students crossing the busy roadway, Mr. Mitchell says an overhead bridge is what is really needed in the community.
Definitely the long term would be the bridge. The entire community is lobbying for the bridge, and that is what is really needed.
We must protect our children. Let us ensure as a people that there are no more baby Adrianas. Let us ensure that never again will our children have to withstand the onslaught of a ravaging motor vehicle.
Meanwhile, the CDC has organized a 4K run walk, which will begin at the school to help with Aldrina's funeral expenses.
This is on the 10th of next month, March that is, and it starts at 7 a.m. It starts at the Cross Primary and Infant School, and it goes down to Paisley Avenue and comes back up and ends right at the school.
Prince Moore, TVJ News.
Still in Clarendon, the principal of Claude McKay High is to attend court on March 19 to respond to an allegation that he beat and injured a 13-year-old student earlier this month. The Frankfield Police and the Education Ministry have been investigating the matter, which was reported by the boy's mother. The boy's mother, Shanika Ferron, said he arrived home crying on February 13, complaining of being in pain. She said her son told her that the principal beat him with an electrical pipe. It resulted in scars and swelling on his legs. TVJ News was informed that Ms. Ferron's son was among 8 boys being disciplined for playing on the school compound during class time. There's a call for Education Minister Ruel Reid to come clean about the National School Feeding Program, in particular the distribution of Nutribuns and other items. Chairman of the PNP's Education Commission, Elaine Foster Allen, says some school principals have been raising concerns about the program. She says these principals have made reports, but nothing has been done about the situation.
In one case, I heard of there being 48 children in the school, 24 bottles of water and 24 Nutribuns, 48 children on path, 24 bottles of water and 24 Nutribuns delivered twice per week. So that would work out at half a bottle of water and half a Nutribun to each of those 48 children.
There's another call this afternoon for the National Water Commission to urgently address a sewage problem in a residential community. Residents of Phase 1 in the Yalas housing scheme say raw sewage has been flowing on the street as well as in their homes. They say they have had the issue 2 times before.
The first time, wash it out. The second time they come, they don't wash it out. And I'm having problem with it now. All the fields are in my house right now.
In addition to the stench, they fear the associated health issues that may follow. Amidst another push from the government to resume the island's railway service, the island's leading training institution is moving ahead with plans to train persons already working in that industry. The Heart Trust NTA says it's partnering with bauxite company Gisco Alpart in St. Elizabeth to help 110 of its employees as well as to draft younger persons. Representatives from the 2 entities signed an MOU on Wednesday signaling the move.
For not only the mining and quarrying industry, but for investments that we know is on the horizon with the industrial park at Alpart. One of the major areas that we are looking at is the training and certification of persons in railroad and track maintenance. In doing our gap analysis, we realized that there was no form of certification for these persons.
Because I've been working in the mines for over 2 years as a general mechanical personnel, but I wasn't certified. I'm qualified in my area of skill. I do my job to the best of my ability. That's why I was drafted and recommended by my supervisors to enhancing this program. It's a wonderful plus for me, and it's a great career opportunity knowing that I'm accredited now for my skills. It gives me a sense of job security and a mean of well-being on the job. I function more effectively now that I'm certified.
The training and certification program is estimated to cost $2 million and will help advance the bauxite company's planned expansion of its railway service. Over 200 young entrepreneurs from across central Jamaica benefited from a youth entrepreneurship seminar held in Mandeville, Manchester recently. The seminar is to provide young people, entrepreneurs, with the opportunity to start their own businesses. The program also marked the final lap of training for 20 young women in key areas of entrepreneurship. 10 were awarded grants of $75,000 each to either start or develop their businesses. The project was funded by the Canada Fund for Local Initiative, whose program manager, Mr. Kevin, explained why his country got involved in that initiative.
Local grassroots efforts to deal with community issues and to betterment of local communities. Again, we've been involved with Mandeville before. This is not our first time. It's not our first time with young men and women with purpose. We're pleased to be back. They're a fine example of the type of organizations we like to fund because they work on helping young people, particularly women and girls, to be change agents for their community.
And time now for a preview of what's coming up in this evening's health report.
In the next edition of the Health Report, we look at how the flu virus affects surgeries.
The antigenic shift is where you have a major change in the DNA of the virus, all right? And that causes epidemics. So that is an important thing in public health.
That's the Health Report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's healthy living tip. Alert your surgeon if you are sick. Eat a well-balanced diet. Stay hydrated. And wash your hands frequently with soap and water.
In international news, British Prime Minister Theresa May has proposed giving the Parliament a vote on a no-deal Brexit. We have details from the CNN.
With just over a month to go before Brexit, when the UK is scheduled to leave the EU, time is running out. Parliament is still in gridlock over how to leave or even whether to leave the EU. The Prime Minister is resolute, saying her plan for withdrawal is the best choice to guarantee a Brexit on schedule, arguing that asking the EU to delay the exit will not solve anything and goes against the will of the people.
Let me be clear. I do not want to see Article 50 extended. Our absolute focus should be on working to get a deal and leaving on the 29th of March.
The next few weeks are crunch time for Theresa May and her government. And now there is a shift in position from both the major parties. Theresa May has laid out a new strategy for the UK to leave the EU.
First, we will hold a second meaningful vote by Tuesday the 12th of March at the latest. Second, if the government has not won a meaningful vote by Tuesday the 12th of March, by Wednesday the 13th of March at the latest, asking this House if it supports leaving the EU without a withdrawal agreement. Third, if the House, having rejected leaving with the deal negotiated with the EU, then rejects leaving on the 29th of March without a withdrawal agreement and future framework, the government will, on the 14th of March, bring forward a motion on whether Parliament wants to seek a short, limited extension to Article 50.
The Labour Party insists its Brexit plan for a closer relationship with the EU, involving a customs union and close alignment with the single market, is a better plan for Britain.
At sports time, England reached 344 for 3 after 44 overs against the West Indies in the fourth one-day international at the Grenada National Stadium. After being sent in to bat, Jos Buttler is leading the way with 98. Jamaican O'Shane Thomas has taken 2 for 74 for the Caribbean side. The 5-match series is locked at 1-1. The 5th and final ODI will be on Saturday in St. Lucia. And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.